Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats, folks, for your daily live updates. Get the most out of today's episode by participating in the chat. Make sure you ask some questions, be part of the conversation, have a bit of fun, grab a coffee or a tea, take some notes, and get ready to start your day, folks. Quick few housekeeping rules, though. No spamming, no advertising or self-promotion in the chat. That's not on. Be kind and respectful to everyone when participating. And most of all, have a good time. Real estate investing can be your biggest asset. It also can be your most expensive asset when it comes to getting it right or getting it wrong, folks. It can be time-consuming, stressful, and that's why here at Positive, we have what's called a 6-star team, a full-service team that provides integrated wealth and property investing solutions and services simply designed to help you progress towards your goal of passive income through your property portfolio, folks. Make sure you check out our other podcasts on the Positive Mentor Network. Not only is there Wealth Coffee Chats, there's the Urban Property Investor. Drops every Wednesday with straight talking investing strategies and lessons with Sam Saggers. Property Investor Tales. This is where our clients, you guys, share real life stories from property investing, hosted by some of our advisors and strategists. And that's done every fortnight, dropping every Monday. Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, folks, that debriefs the week that was in the world of finance and property, hosted by yours truly, Jason Witten and Andy Fenton on Fridays. Hey, good morning, folks.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat.
Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are.
There it is, team. Morning. Morning, wherever you're tuning in from today.
Early bird gets the worm, they say. Here at Positive, we offer a 6-star team. It's a team that help you at every stage of your wealth creation journey.
Good morning, everybody. And welcome to Finance Friday's edition of Wealth Coffee Chat. We are only 2 weeks away from the Property Summit, and I believe that tickets are almost completely sold out. So get in if you haven't already booked to attend this live event. Some amazing speakers, our experts, the expert 6-star team will also be presenting. And you get the opportunity to chat with like-minded individuals and experts in the field to help you with your finance journey. I'll just share with you what last year's event was like, and I'll drop a link to the last remaining tickets in the chat, and I will be back after this video.
All right, this is going to be fun. Who has played the property game before? Who has been in the game? Who's never played the property game before? Oh, you're in for a treat. Who likes Monopoly? Did anyone like Monopoly when they were a kid? Well, this is Monopoly in real life in this room. Every hour or so, you guys are going to be up and you're going to be running around the room like maniacs trying to play the property game and win the property game.
Today, I wanted to share the lessons, the mistakes, and the wins.
I want everybody to put up their hands who knows their interest rates on all their loans right now.
If you haven't seen me around before, like 13 years in the industry, in property management specifically.
Who likes paying tax? If you need help finding somewhere to donate, I'm sure I can find somewhere else where it can go.
We've got an expression in that, let's go and make new mistakes in the world. Who wants to make new mistakes?
These are just strategic moves that can make such a big difference.
So obviously buy well, never sell. Definitely the majority of what everyone's looking to do is collect some A-grade assets, B-grade assets, whatever it might be.
I loved the idea of being a property investor and developing that identity.
Collectively, they have way more years experience in everything that you think you're trying to solve because they do it every single day.
Last year, last year's event looks absolutely amazing. And if you haven't got your tickets yet, I encourage you to get into it straight away. And for those who have, I look forward to meeting you in person and having a chat. So, how does a mortgage broker flirt? Want to lock in something long term? Morning, Justin. Thanks for joining me this morning. For everybody who's listening, I would love to hear if you guys had a chance to have a conversation with your existing lenders and if you were able to negotiate the interest rate. Drop it in the chat, what your interest rate was, what you were able to negotiate, and how that process went. As part of that conversation, I've mentioned in the past that not all lenders adjust their minimum monthly repayments once they drop the interest rate. So, have you actually spoken to your lender about the repayment side of the loan, not just the interest rate? Now, over the last 4 months, due to both rate drops, we're looking at about $160 a month in terms of, and this is an on average number, but monthly repayments have dropped about $160 a month. Like I said before, most lenders don't automatically adjust that. Leave you on, whatever your repayments are. If you reach out, they'll recalculate it and make the adjustments based on your minimum monthly repayments. If you were to maintain, I'm just going to take the $160 a month. If you were to maintain the current repayments and take advantage of the interest rate discount, the $160 a month that you pay more into the principal works out to help you pay off your home loan approximately 2.5 years faster. And just some rough calculations based on a $500,000 loan over a 25-year loan. I'm using a slightly higher interest rate of 6.42, but based on that amount, the loan term and the interest rate, you're looking at saving about $61,000 worth of interest if you don't make any changes in terms of the repayments. Now, if your rate is 6.42, reach out to your lender and negotiate that, because home loan rates shouldn't be that high, even your investment loans. So it's worth double checking what your current repayments are, having a talk to your broker and actually having a conversation around, if I keep my current repayments the way it is and my interest rates have dropped, how much will that help in terms of paying off my home loan and how quickly can I pay it off? It'll give you an idea about the benefits of that and if it is worth going back to the lender to get them to reduce the minimum monthly repayments, or whether it's better off for you to just leave the repayments as it is. Now, I understand everybody is going to go through some different challenges, and sometimes we need to use as much income as possible, just so that we can meet our minimum living requirements, because obviously living expenses have actually increased as well. But if over the last year or so, if your repayments have been, let's just use the word comfortable, then keeping your repayments where it is at the moment actually may be more beneficial long term. Now, the other thing I wanted to chat about, and often, clients often reach out and want to know how much they can actually borrow. And a lot of times the process can get drawn out. And I just want to give you an explanation in terms of what, from the lending perspective, it looks like, and often why we ask so many documents. I know I do get feedback from clients who's like, you literally want to know everything. There is a reason behind that, and I just wanted to share it with everybody today. Now, to work out your borrowing capacity, I look at it in terms of 3 different stages. The initial chat. So if you're a PRE client, you would have filled out a PFS, which gives us a very rough figure. We can, myself or my team can jump on the phone with you, run through the figures that you have in your mind in terms of how much income you're earning, your existing loan repayments, your existing debt structure, get an overall idea of what your current financial position is. And just from the conversation, we can actually let you know how much roughly you can borrow. But that is subject to us verifying your income. Okay. And for my team, the next stage of that is to sit down with you, whether it's on Zoom or whether it's in person, and actually go, okay, provide us with some verification of your current debts and your current income. This will give us pretty much an accurate idea of how much you can actually borrow, because we verified your debts, and we verified your debts, and we verified your income. Now, the last part that we need to verify before we submit an application to the banks is your living expenses. Now, for me, your living expenses is a variable, and sometimes your living expenses can be a lot more than what the banks determine your living expenses should be, and we then have to have a conversation about how we could align your current living expenses to more what the banks want to use, so that we can maximize how much you can borrow. Now, with your living expenses, the banks use a measurement called HEMS, and HEMS gets determined and actually gets adjusted, I think, every month or so. The banks will get an updated HEM figure, and they will then apply that to their servicing calculator. Now, when it comes to HEM, even if you are living below HEMS, and it's possible for a lot of families, the banks will still use HEM to confirm how much you can actually borrow. Now, if you're living above HEM, then we can have a conversation. We go through your living expenses, and we can help you organize a budget so that we can bring that down. And if we bring that figure down over a 3-month period, that's enough for the lenders to be able to accept the new living expense figure. We leave that to the very end because it's a variable, but it requires us to pretty much look at all your bank statements and collate all your living expenses and verify it. And that is what we are required to do as a broker. And we often leave that to the last part because that is the part that is the most time consuming and actually gets a lot of, I guess it gets very personal. So that's the reason why we leave it just before we submit the application to the banks, but it also is a variable that we can have a conversation with you. So even within the first 2 steps, if we verified you can borrow up to $1 million, but your living expense is slightly higher, it's going to take us some time to reduce your living expenses so that you're in the position to be able to borrow that $1 million with the bank, and we can work on making that, working on putting you in a better position to be able to take out that loan. So the next time you have a conversation with your broker, we can actually give you a rough idea, but we actually go through 3 different stages to get to the point where it's actually ready for the application to be submitted to the banks. In the past, and I'll share with you, over my 20 years of lending, we were able to just use HEMS in the past. And HEMS in the past was not based on your income. It was based on you, your partner, and how many dependents you have. And there was a figure that everybody used. I mean, granted, in the past, we also didn't have to provide all your pay slips and employment. A letter from your employer was enough for us to get a loan approved. But because ASIC and our NCCP, the requirement was that brokers needed to verify clients' living expenses and use that. Now, I think it's often unfair because when you're living before you actually have a loan, when you have your living expenses before you actually have a loan, your life often changes when you've taken out a loan with a bank and you're making sure that you're actually making repayments on that loan. So it doesn't take into account that people's lives actually change once they take out loans. So that obviously makes it, very hard for us as brokers to go and find and maximize how much you can actually borrow, because very few times we'll get to the point where we've verified your living expenses and we need to actually make some adjustments. Now, it's ideal if you knew your budget and had a fair idea of how much your budget was and formed that part of the conversation, which meant that our initial chat, and even at the stage where we verify your income, we'll be able to give you a 99% accuracy in terms of how much you could actually borrow and with which lender. Okay. So just wanted to share that because again, we've just had questions around why we often have to ask you for so much information. And a lot of it is just to verify the data that we actually put into the application form. All right, that's it for me this week. I just want to encourage everybody to reach out and get the tickets to attend our live event in 2 weeks' time. It's a super, super valuable event, and I look forward to meeting you all there. I will put a link to the tickets again in the chat. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy your Friday, and I will talk to you guys next week.
Thanks for watching another episode of Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing when we go live. Improve your portfolio and investing game, folks, with Wealth Coffee Chats live every morning at 8:10 each weekday. Make sure you join us. Previous episodes are also available wherever you get your podcasts, folks, as well as our other podcasts from the 6-Star team here at positivementor.com.au.